Hey everybody, I'm Amber.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot. And today we are continuing our week of tough subject matter by talking about something that is utterly necessary to talk about. We are going to talk about the conflict in Palestine from an aspect of humanitarianism. This is not about Jewishness. My ancestors are the same ancestors of all of the individuals involved. And you know what? Yours are too, and Maddie's are too, because we're all one. We're all one family of human beings. We all come from the same place originally. And to look the other way while the G side happens during our lifetime, when for the first time in history, we all have an ability to broadcast our voice as far and wide as we want if we are living in freedom. Because the people who are living under the control and the apartheid in the Gaza Strip don't have the freedom to fully broadcast, just like the people in Sudan don't have the freedom to fully broadcast. And as much as it's hard to have these conversations and it's hard to listen to these conversations, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. You are welcome to move on. No hard feelings from Maddie or myself. We understand that this conversation maybe is too hard for some people to have, and we understand that, but we think it's very important. We talked, and we maybe don't always go this route with our episodes. You know, the closest we've probably come in the past is talking about last summer when we talked about bodily autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we're stepping outside of our comfort zone a little bit by talking about this on the show. But free Palestine, motherfuckers. Free fucking Palestine. And I think that's where a great place to start, right? Like, this conversation isn't about religion, right? Like, we just want to foremost put that out there, right? And
yes,
I don't want to speak for both of us, but
right. We are taking religion out of it. And yes, I am going to take religion out of it, because I'm not going to sit here and hear, but it's their holy land.
It's not every Abrahamic person's holy land. And we all come from the same place. Mm-hmm. It's one of the first places that humans came out of Africa. It's one of the first places that humans had agriculture. So it's literally all of our holy land and our Garden of Eden, if we want to go there.
Right, I was going to use that term, Garden of Eden.
Yeah,
exactly. It is. I spiritually speaking, I'm going to get in here spiritually. I do think that the Middle Eastern countries, Israel, Palestine, I think they are absolutely cursed. We've been fighting this fight, whether it's a curse by a individual or it's a curse in its own making.
Right. It's a blessing and a curse. It is it's some of the most fertile land in the world.
And everybody wants it.
Everybody wants it. Yes. And everybody, because it's some of the original land that we used coming out of the African continent. Everybody has roots to it. Everybody wants a piece of it.
And it's just land, guys. I mean, I hate to be that bitch, but like,
yeah, I mean, like, and it seems like powerful land. Like, as I was doing research, like, I came across words like Nazareth and Jerusalem. And as somebody who was raised Christian, obviously it strikes a chord, right? Like reverence, a chord of reverence to these places.
Well,
but not ownership. I don't own it.
It reminds me of a saying that I believe you've said, and I think I've said, and I've heard it many times. You know, actually, I'm gonna quote Disney's Pocahontas. You think you own whatever land you fucking land on. That the earth is just a dead thing you can claim. And it's not.
Fuck, you can't.
It's not. You can't just claim land because you say you claim.
Right.
Like, and it's on this earth. It's for everyone.
Right. I agree with that. It's for humanity.
It's for
the
people.
Humans that were living on that land should not be subjugated to punishment for existing there when a government decided that Britain got to have it.
Exactly. Because why? Why do they have to have it? Why do they get to have it? What have they done?
Why do they get to say who deserves to have the land? Why are they an innocent party?
Why
is Britain at all involved, since they're the ones that colonized most of the goddamn world?
That's why.
Why Britain?
That's
Fuck
why.
you, Britain.
I'm pretty
sorry.
sure Britain
Y'all
just
understand I'm anti-Britain, right? You know I'm
Britain
against
had
it by
control
now.
of
It's season
India
3
until, like, what was it, the early 1900s?
Right. So they lost control of India and they were given Israel.
Right, because 1920 something is when Israel was
created as a state.
Right. And then given to the Jews.
And then the people that lived there were slowly pushed out of their homes. And that's where the problem is. As my husband says, right? Okay, so like, look, it's a shit show for everybody. This is not a conversation about the Israeli people being bad. Let's just let you in on a little fact before we go any further in this. The Israeli people were about to revolt against their government before the little incident on October 7th happened. Like, that is a fact.
I remember that. Just like the Chinese people were going to revolt on the government and then COVID happened, but I won't get into that. I don't know if you remember that. I'm so sorry. Should I not have said that?
I didn't know that. Did I know that? I don't remember that.
Protests in Hong Kong. Thousands of people. And then all of a sudden everybody had to stay in there. Yeah, no, look that up. That is absolutely true. And the protests have not continued.
Well, and so, okay, wow, okay, and just like that, this is how this is going, guys. Like, look, all media is propaganda. Even our show is propaganda because we are each individuals who have our own thoughts about things. Ergo, that is bias, okay? Bias is not always a bad thing. Bias is not always a good thing. And propaganda can be good or bad. And in the case of what we are reported to in the West, in our media, the propaganda is specifically anti-Palestinian. And the Palestinian people are not doing anything wrong. Hey, the Palestinian people are not Hamas.
No, they're two separate people. Exactly.
Right. Like, and the Palestinian people are the ones who are being punished at an exorbitant rate.
Are you all right?
By the government. Sorry, my kid just came through, guys.
No, I'm so sorry.
Like, look, okay, first of all, I am going to be so passionate during this episode, and I cannot fucking help it, guys. If you watch my Morning Witch videos, you've been seeing me talk about it not every day, but for the past couple months. And it's because my heart cannot handle
it. No, I'm so sorry. I didn't know how to finish the sentence. I was trying to lighten it up a little bit.
You're good.
It's actually, so it's very... I recently read, so here's a little list of timelines for what has happened in modern times. October 7th, 2023, Hamas attacked an Israeli.
They attacked the whole border.
Yes, it was a music festival specifically where they took hostages, correct?
No, all over. They went over at 10 different spots across the border, and there was I tell you, no military interference as they crossed the border. Because before they crossed the border, the Israeli government met at 2:30 in the morning to say there's something fishy going on. Oh, we don't know what's up, so we're all just going to go back to bed and see what happens. And then 6:30 a.m. comes around and Hamas starts the attack. And there's no soldiers anywhere as they're crossing the border. You can't, I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. So please continue on with your timeline. I'm just going to chime in with little fun facts. Because
so that happened, and they ended up kidnapping 245 people, hostages, women or specifically, women and people who were at the
and men, like they were.
Men. There weren't any children.
I don't
think
it was
a music festival.
Well, however, it wasn't just the music festival that people were taken from. That's just where some of the people were taken from. There was a music festival that was scheduled for that day that was originally planned to be located 14 miles in from the border.
Mm-hmm.
And then the day before all of this happened, it was moved to 2 miles within the border. You can't tell me the Israeli government did not know what was going to happen.
Well, of course. It's just like people got I won't get into that, but
like the music festival, they could have torn down everybody in it. Most people fled in their cars. Like,
so they kidnapped 245 people and held them, or took hostages, right?
Right. 1,192 civilians and soldiers, Israeli civilians and Israeli soldiers were killed. Originally,
1,100. Oh, that's right. 1,100.
Yes. Originally, the number was put at like 1,400 or something, but then it turned out that like a large, a couple hundred people were actually either Hamas fighters or Palestinian civilians, because after there were all these holes in the border, some of the civilians who are trapped in the Gaza Strip under apartheid, because they live under apartheid over there, guys. Don't let the media fool you. Look up the word. That's what they live on. Some of them were coming through, I guess, because they've been trapped. They wanted out. They've been wanting out. That's what's been going on for like, God, so many years now. It's fucking just devastating.
And how many of that was children? I think it was only 100 and something.
I didn't even think it was that many. I know there was only 2 babies. All that shit that you see in the news about babies, there were only 2 babies, and neither of them had any of the horrible, I can't use the words because it's babies, but like none of that horrible shit that was reported on, none of that happened. Like there were 2 babies that died of horrible circumstances, because babies should never die, but like not the torture that was put in our media.
And in retaliation, Israel
has started.
Sorry,
I'm like, I don't know the numbers. I know you know the numbers. Israel has started.
60% of homes in Gaza have been destroyed. 60% of homes. One town, one village in Gaza has been destroyed 222 times throughout all of this. Not all of this, but like all of the history of the Gaza Strip. Yes. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? And 60% of fucking homes. 100 point
residential area.
I'm so sorry. 100.9, not 100.2. 100.9 million out of 2.2 million in the population has been moved, uprooted, has gone without electricity. This is over half the population. This is almost the entire population of Gaza.
Not just that, but as they're being uprooted and told to move and told to evacuate to Rafah, they're then being bombed on the way. And not only are they being bombed in their fucking homes and then bombed on their way to refuge, they are so connected to their homes and their land and their history and their heritage and their culture that they're stopping to save whatever olive trees haven't been destroyed. They're trying to save any cats that they can, because cats are sacred in their culture. They're still trying to live the best kind of life they can under the circumstances. Like, I won't lie, the first things I was seeing after the conflict happened on October 7th was stuff about, like, it was poems of lovers that would rather die in each other's arms in their home than die fleeing, because they knew they would be bombed fleeing, because they'd seen it happening to everybody that took the order to leave. that went on the escape routes to get to where they were told to go to, that were then trapped on these escape routes and slaughtered. And there's no other way to describe that. That's what was done to the Palestinian people. That's what's happening right now while you're listening, while we're talking. You're listening after we're talking, days after we're talking. And it's happening right now, right then, and everywhere in between. People are dying. I'm sorry.
Civilians are dying. People that are not associated with Hamas at all.
They're bombing schools.
They're
and
bombing
hospitals.
There is a picture of so many babies in the NICU that were left to die. They starved to death. They died because they were bombing. I recently saw a picture of these people, these Palestinians that they captured. It was a doctor. It was a doctor and a journalist and some pediatrician. These are not people working with Hamas. These are people
saving the Palestinian people.
Why would they kill a journalist?
Because they kill the children.
They don't want people to know what's really going on.
They don't want people to know what's really going on, so they kill the journalist. They don't want the people to survive the attacks, so they kill the doctors. They don't want the people to survive, so they kill the children. They're killing civilians. They're killing children. Like, they're blocking off supplies. Like, the people in Palestine live under apartheid. I thought this might make me stop crying. The people in Palestine are living under apartheid, and their whole everything is completely controlled by the Israeli government. And they cut off the supplies, like I think October 13th or some bullshit.
Can we talk about the 3 whistleblowers that came forward and spoke with
Please
CNN?
do.
3 whistleblowers came forward and spoke with CNN and revealed photos of a camp, a prison camp in Israel. It's full of Palestinian men. I'm using the right term, Palestinian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Palestinian men.
Witch hazel.
They're all wearing.
Sorry, guys, for those of you listening, I'm holding a puppy, and her name is Hazel, and I call her Witch Hazel. Sorry, Maddie.
It's okay.
Not to interrupt. I just realized that, like, YouTubers would get that when I said Witch Hazel and lifted the puppy up, but nobody else would.
They're all wearing the same uniform. These are grown men forced to wear diapers because they don't have anywhere to go to the bathroom. They're on an all-liquid diet. People have had their limbs removed because they have been handcuffed for so long and so tightly that they have gotten infections in the limbs. This camp is known as an quote, interns, or I'm sorry, what was it? Not interns, a newcomer's paradise when it comes to the amputation of limbs, and doctors, because they're not sending real doctors there. They're sending new people who don't know what they're doing. Photos have been released and were released on CNN. 3 whistleblowers came forward. One of them, I believe, was a journalist. But of course, I believe they're keeping their identity under wraps. When CNN asked Israel to comment on this, did they? No.
Of course not.
They did not comment.
I watched a documentary by Al Jazeera called October 7th, and it's about the day, and you can see a lot of body cam footage of the Hamas soldiers. And these fuckers don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, the government let Hamas attack so they'd have an excuse to do this. Like, hands down, there's no way that they wouldn't have their forces in place.
They want the land.
You know, like they want the land. They want to get rid of. They want to decimate the people. They want a G-side. They use excuses.
Every time you say that, I want to go, because it's like
I just don't want to get censored.
It's like a rap name.
I know. I just don't want to get censored for using that word. You know what I mean?
But also, this goes well with that name. Peace.
Yeah, like, because I mean, I lost track of what I was saying.
They did this on purpose.
They did this on purpose. They
want an excuse to get rid of the people so that they can have it.
Not just that, like, not just that they can't respond to, like, what you were saying, that, you know, what the whistleblower said they wouldn't respond to, but, like, they made up so many lies about what happened. They went through a neighborhood and blew up a kibbutz themselves. The Hamas soldiers didn't have that kind of equipment to do what was done. And then they used all of this as an excuse to commit atrocities. These are war crimes. These are crimes against humanity. What they're doing is so wrong. And if you're just watching Western media, you're not getting the full picture. I mean, like, I don't know, like, I guess CNN is Western media. I didn't know about the whistleblower. I didn't look into that. I won't lie. I did, and like,
Sorry.
you know, I just feel like like most everything I've seen on Western media definitely has not painted any kind of picture other than what is happening is justified, and you can't justify what's going on. I mean, child was run over by a fucking tank. How can you justify that?
As of right now, the last I read, over 20,000 Palestinians have been murdered. A third of that number is children. Now compare that to the 1,200 that were killed. When is enough enough?
Right? I mean, like, and if you see things on the internet and, instead of saying Palestine, there are watermelons, that's because in the past, the Israeli government that is the oppressor of the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip and Rafah and other places that the Palestinian people are forced to live under Israeli rule. They weren't allowed to fly their flag. Watermelon, however, has all the same colors. So if you see that and you go like, why are these people so silly? They're using watermelon. It's because the Palestinian people themselves have used watermelon to help preserve their culture. Because like Maddie said, when is enough enough? They are trying to destroy the Palestinian culture as a whole. That's why, if you see keffiyehs for sale, yeah, don't give in to the Western cash grab of selling keffiyehs. Don't buy a keffiyeh made in China. But you can buy keffiyehs that are made by Palestinian producers that help support the Palestinian people and keep their culture alive, because they actually want that, because they're terrified of their culture being decimated. They're terrified of their culture being destroyed. And the keffiyeh is something that has represented their culture and other Middle Eastern cultures for millennia now. And it's something that isn't a big way, but if you're like, well, how can I help? Or you can use your voice.
Like Amber and I are doing right now. We're using our platform to speak out against these atrocities. You can donate to different places. I don't know.
We'll have a list at the end. Yeah.
Yes, you can donate to different places. If you can't donate, if you don't have the means to donate, don't feel like you can't do anything. Raise your voice. Talk about it.
Just share on social media. They can't silence us forever. Like, yeah, fuck you, Facebook. You want to silence me because I say free Palestine at least once a week? I'm not going to stop. I don't care about being silenced, because if enough of us speak up, they cannot silence us all. They cannot silence us all. I don't care if we've talked in a previous episode where, like I said, I would go to prison for my principles. I don't care if they take away our free speech. I will still speak out. That's not what this is about, but like, that's how passionate I am about what's so wrong, because it bothers me to have found out at 40 years old the existence of the Palestinian people for the past, 80 years, 60 years, has been so, I guess 80 years, has been so atrocious. Living under the rule of somebody else being told that you cannot celebrate who you are.
Well,
that's what our show's all about, is celebrating who you are.
There was this person, and I think
monkey. Sorry.
I think she's a politician, and I'm not sure. Before all of this happened, she spoke out. She spoke out often about the atrocities that were happening in Palestine, and everybody just labeled her a horrible person. And then this happened.
Well, and you know what? Real quick, while we're on politicians, shame on all of you American politicians who even think you can stick your little dirty nose in and make speeches on national platforms supporting what's happening. Like, I saw, like, when I was doing my research, I saw this, like, North Carolina or South Carolina woman, I think it was a congresswoman, and she was just like, I wanted to go out there and tell Mr. Netanyahu to go get him. And it's like, you don't live over there. You don't have to live with the consequences of the things that you're saying. None of us have to live with the consequences of being pro or anti-Palestine. But you know what? Those people have lived under terror for 80 years. And if you're going to have an opinion, it shouldn't be based on something out of the Bible. If you're going to have an opinion, it should be based on the war crimes that are happening right now. And it should be based on unbiased media, or as unbiased as you can fucking find. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to blow up.
No, please do, because I agree completely with you. I agree, and I don't want to hear that's just the way of war. A lot of people say that, and it pisses me off so much.
No, absolutely. It shouldn't be. No, it absolutely shouldn't be. I mean, like, you know, I know it feels like, because I'm there with you guys. If you feel like you want to do something, you just feel like there's nothing you can do. But every little bit of energy feeds into the cosmic mind. We create our own reality. I'm not trying to take it to a woo-woo place, guys, but literally the more of us that mentally and physically and emotionally feed our energy into saying that this is wrong, we can make a difference. I know I sound crazy. I swear to God, I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. It is true. When you put your collective energy into something, it changes the energy, because it literally is all connected. We are all from the same line. We are all pieces of the same cosmic mind. And when we all focus our energy in the same direction for positive change, we can make positive change happen. I truly believe that. And there's actually evidence. There's evidence. Go look. Go educate yourselves. Don't take my word for it. Go educate yourself and find that there is evidence to support exactly what I'm saying about the fact that collective positive change or collective negative change can affect an entire society. It truly can. And there was something else that I was going to say, but I can't remember. I just know that I may not have the money to do much, but I can fucking talk like nobody's fucking business. And if you don't have the money to help and you want to help, speak up, speak out.
Raise your voice.
Raise your voice. And if you stuck around with us this long, we appreciate you. I'm not trying to close it out, but
I feel like we've stated everything. That we've stated facts and our own opinions, and I think that it's about 8 o'clock. So.
Yeah. So if you want to help in any way, not just the Palestinian people's plight, but any of the atrocities that are happening in our world right now, and most of you listen to us are probably going to fall into the category of we are privileged enough to not be personally affected. Mm-hmm. So if you want to help anyone. Operation Olive Branch, Focus Congo, Human Concern International, Palestinian Children Relief Fund, Medical Aid for Palestinians, Friends of the Congo, Action Against Hunger, and that is for the Congo and Sudan. And there's probably a lot more. But you can find organizations that are actively trying to help the plight of these fellow humans. And we hope you do. We hope you use your voice. If you feel like using your money, we hope you do. Choose to do so with a worthy cause. And we hope that you are able to.
All right. Should we do the closing then?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks so much to Death by DVD,
Melissa,
Victoria,
and Pam.
We appreciate you being our patrons on patreon.com. And if you would like to join them, you can go to patreon.com/Witches Talking Tarot. Otherwise, you can find us on the socials at Witches Talking Tarot, Instagram, Threads, and Facebook.
We're on the X at Classiest Witches.
So we thank you for coming to sit with us as well. Bye.
I'm Maddie.
I'm Amber.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot.
We are the weird optimistic.
Like a song, like a sailor snubble. Flip the switch and let the cauldron bubble. Sam.
Wow.